So in the last tutorial, we started our experience system. We can give our player experience points when we hit play. If I was to press the P key, we're giving him points, but when he gets to the required points, he needs to level up. So that's what we need to do now. Over to B_hero. We're not going to add the code directly to the player like this. What we're actually going to do is create a function, because this function is going to fire every single time we get experience points. It's code. It's really quick. It's not as if it's going to weigh us down. So we can make it really complicated and run it every single time we get experience points. And it also means that we can run that function from other characters. So this function will fire when an enemy dies. He will have a set value to give us, and he will give us that value, and then we'll run the calculation to see if it's enough. Let's go to the functions here and click and create a new function. This is going to be called calculate experience. Just like our calculate health in our base character, we don't need to put this in base character because it's specifically for players. Let's start by adding a node here. This is going to be the points gained node. So click on inputs, make it an integer because we are dealing with integers when it comes to experience. We are going to call that points gained. Now let's grab our experience structure, and we're going to break it open because we're going to need a reference to how much experience we have. And we're going to hit the plus sign, dragging out points gained. So we'll plug experience points into points gained. So the first calculation will be points gained plus experience points equals our new experience points. And just like we did in the last video, we're going to grab experience, set members in S experience, and then set experience. And we're going to expose the experience points. So it's essentially what we did in the previous video at the end, just for our little test rig, and we'll get rid of that in just a moment. So that's stage one. Stage two is to find out if our points are equal to the experience we need. So we'll grab the experience needed and we'll go greater or equal to. Because if we go equal to, if we're just checking if we've hit the experience, if we had 900 experience and we killed an enemy and it gave us 200 experience, we're going to miss that exact experience level up. So we need to counter in that we will get more experience than our level sometimes. So plug experience points and experience needed in order right here. Next we'll get a branch and we'll plug that result into that branch. So if we do not exceed the necessary skill points, we will not be leveling up, but when we do, we will be leveling up. So we're going to need to grab the experience reference again, and we're going to need all of the members in there. So if we have enough experience points, we're going to need to update all of the values here. Grab another experience, set members, we're going to need all of the members here, and we're going to do something different to all of them. Now, the easy ones are our experience level and our experience points. All we're going to do is grab experience level and hit +1. Grab our skill points and hit +1. And we're just going to add a skill point and an experience level every time we level up. Now, where it might not make a lot of sense at first, but if you think about it, it does, is the experience points and experience needed. Let's say you got 1100 experience, but you only needed 1000 to get to the next level. So when you level up, you want to keep the experience that's over. So we can't just set our experience points back to 0. What we need to do is find out the difference between the experience points and the experience needed. And figuring out the difference is as easy as subtracting them from each other. So that's the difference. And that'll be our new experience points. So 1100 experience points, and then we level up, which means we should have 100 experience points. 1100 experience points minus 1000 experience points, which was the needed, will leave us with 100 experience points. And the last thing we'll do is add to our experience needed, because we don't want to just stay at that value the whole time. Now, you can be as complicated as you want with this value. At the moment, I'm just going to set mine to 100. So you'll need 100 extra points per level. Scaling might not be perfect. This comes down to playtesting, and you could even drag off and make this a variable later, or do a mathematical equation where you are multiplying the experience needed, so it's more reflective of the level you're on. But just for testing purposes, we're going to add. So once we get past to level 1, we're going to need 1100 experience to get to level 2, 1200 experience to get to level 3, and so on and so forth. Now, don't forget to also set experience as well, saving the final values into that node. And the last thing we'll do here is show the player what level they're on, but because we haven't got that represented on our UI yet, we'll just do it via a print string. I basically use print strings as examples of things I have to do later. So me seeing this print string would remind me that I need to actually put that in the UI later. Let's drag out of our print string, type in append, type in level up, and then a space after that. And then we'll punch in our experience level there. And we will hide the skill point from the first section. And plug that in there. This is clean enough, considering we're keeping most of this, and the stuff that isn't clean is the stuff that we're probably not going to be keeping. Let's compile and save that. Back over to our main event graph in this tab up here. Let's get rid of this and type in calculate experience. And now we'll add 100 points every time we hit P. Compile and save that. Back to the test map, hit play. Let's hit P, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We leveled up to level 1. And our meter went back down to 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. We leveled up to level 2. The other thing we'll do before we close out, we'll add our experience level to our UI. So let's go down to user interface, click on HUD player, back to the designer. I'm just going to shove it underneath my health bar for the moment. You could even move down the entire vertical box. In fact, you know what? Let's do that. Let's move down the entire vertical box and slip a number in there. 75. Now we're just going to use a normal text block here. So let's drag the text in there. Let's set its pivot to 0.5. Anchor it to the top. Set its position to 0, 0. Size it to content. Now we'll drag our position down so it fits in there. So 25 seems good. Let's put a random number in there so we know what it looks like. And let's go and change the font so that it's representative of the font we want to use. You could use a rich text block, but when we get to coding this, you'll see why it's kind of a pain, because you can't bind a rich text block as easily, at least in this version of Unreal. Click the drop down for font and select the Halo font. I use a size of 25. Again, you can come back and change these if you want. Even affect the opacity if you'd like. We're just going to leave that there for now. Let's click on a binding. And this is why I said get experience points, because now we want to get experience level. You could also just type in get EXP points, get EXP level. And now here we'll get hero, get experience, break experience, and then shove our experience level into that value. Hide unconnected pins, select everything, press Q, straighten it up. Get this as high as I can without touching the executable line. Compile, save, back to the test map, and there's the number 0. We hit P, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and we've leveled up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now we're level 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Level 3. So far, everything's working really well. Now we can use that calculated experience function in any other character, say an enemy, so that when the enemy dies, it fires off that function and sets whatever experience value it's been given. So let's say a grunt enemy or a smaller enemy. I wasn't meaning to make a Halo reference. Let's say a smaller enemy gives you 100 experience points, and then that value will be translated over via that calculated experience function, so long as we have a hero reference.